YouTube, it's Erin, and I am the Handbag Housewife. And I'm back again to share another video, this time on a different and exciting topic. The topic of the day is ways that you can save money on Louis Vuitton. Now you may say, but they don't have sales. Well, that's not quite true. They do actually have sales in a way. And then there are also some other backdoor ways to get yourself a discount. The first 3 or 4 of these ways are kind of tied together, and you'll see why and what I mean in just a second. The first way that I would like to talk about is through Rakuten. Now, when I bought my Neo Noe in Noir a few years ago, I bought it from a Saks Fifth Avenue. At that time, Rakuten offered cashback with certain stores, and you could get those discounts when you made the purchase in store. Now, you can't purchase Louis Vuitton online except for from Louis Vuitton. But if you buy your Louis Vuitton from a department store like Macy's, Nordstrom's, Saks, or Bloomingdale's, for example, you can sometimes link a credit card within Rakuten, use that card to pay in store, and then get some cash back, which is exactly what I did with this bag. When I made this purchase, I used my US Bank Cash Plus credit card. Let me go back to the Rakuten for just a moment. At the time I purchased this bag, I got 12% cash back from Rakuten by linking my credit card, the US Bank Cash Plus card, and then using that card to pay Saks in store at their Louis Vuitton location. That is the largest discount I've ever been able to get in terms of a rebate through Rakuten. They no longer seem to offer this through Saks, but I did find out today that Macy's still offers this option, and there are some Louis Vuittons within Macy's in the United States. So currently, if you link a card within Rakuten and then use that card to pay at Macy's, you can get 1% cash back. And Macy's do have Louis Vuittons in some locations. On Herald Square in New York, I believe, is one example. Now, when I paid for this bag, I got 12% back from Rakuten. And then on top of that, US Bank Cash Plus MasterCard lets you choose 2 categories per quarter. And one of the options is department stores. I always select that option. And then for that quarter, I can spend up to $2,000 and get 5% cash back on that item. And then after the $2,000, it's 1% cash back, I believe. Now this item is now around $2,000. So that would work out to be about $100 off this bag. But then, of course, paired with Rakuten and the additional 12% cash back, it was a pretty substantial discount. Now, department stores often offer their own credit cards, and a lot of them are MasterCard or Visa or American Express that you could link within Rakuten. Rakuten's a lot more limited these days than it used to be. When I looked up the department stores that were available to have in-store cashback, the only one that carried Louis Vuitton was Macy's that I could find that had that pay-in-store link option. However, sometimes using the department store credit card is going to get you the biggest discount on Louis Vuitton. Let me give you an example. I bought both of these Alma BBs from Bloomingdale's. Let me get a thumbnail real quick. Now, the first one I bought, which is the Noir Neo Empreinte Alma BB, this one was a little over $2,000. So by using my US Bank Cash Plus MasterCard, I was able to get 5% cash back on this item. Not only that, I can choose 3 triple points days per year. So I chose the day that I bought this to be a triple points day. Now, since I didn't use my Bloomingdale's credit card, I had to forego the 3 points times 3, and I just got 1 point per dollar. And so it worked out, if this bag was around $2,000, I would get about 6,000 points. So I would score a $100 rebate from my US Bank credit card, and then I would get a $25 gift card at Bloomingdale's from the points I accumulated from this purchase. A month later, when I purchased this Beauty, the Alma BB in Indigo, I had already maxed out my $2,000 spend per quarter on the Neo Empreinte Alma BB. And so for this bag, I used my Bloomingdale's credit card. And by doing that, I picked that day as my triple points day once again. And so rather than getting 6,000 points for this $2,000 bag, I actually got 24,000 points. So I was just shy of getting $125 in gift cards at Bloomingdale's. So you can see it's pretty comparable. You end up a little bit ahead using the credit card because you don't quite make it to that $125 threshold, but you don't have to spend much to make it past that extra 1,000 points you need to get to the next gift card being issued. So far, we've said you can save money with Rakuten if you buy at the Macy's with Louis Vuitton in it. You can save money with department store rewards programs, whether or not you use their credit card, but you can save more money if you use their credit card, so that's number 3. You can use the U.S. Bank Cash Plus credit card to save 5% on your Louis Vuitton purchases up to $2,000 at department stores like Macy's, Dillard's, Bloomingdale's, and Saks. So that's 4. Number 5 would be that when I make purchases at Bloomingdale's Louis Vuitton, I don't pay tax. Now, this isn't going to work for everybody, but you should be aware of what department stores carry Louis Vuitton that do not have a location within your state. Because if that is your situation, like it is mine, then you very well may not have to pay tax on Louis Vuitton if you buy it from a department store that is not in your state. So I always try to make my purchases through the Bloomingdale's Louis Vuitton. And sometimes they have to order my items to make that happen. Okay, so another way to save money on Louis Vuitton is by purchasing in Hawaii. I went to Hawaii just before the worldwide issue that we all had to face happened. And I found out that you can save around 10% off of the U.S. prices. And your tax rate might also be a bit lower because when I checked things out there, the tax rate was around 7%. And for a lot of people, Louis Vuittons are located in very upscale locations, and therefore the tax rates are more like 10%. And so you can save money not only on taxes there, but also because the prices are about 10% lower. Now you may say, why are the prices lower there in Hawaii? That's part of the United States. Well, the reason is because in Hawaii, they are closer to Japan than they are to the United States. And so their prices are based off the Japanese yen instead of the US dollar. And somehow, when they're doing the calculations, it works out that it is cheaper in Japan to buy Louis Vuitton, at least at the moment, than it is in the US. And so that's where you get your savings. The next way to save money on Louis Vuitton is to beat the price increases. This seems a little bit counterintuitive, but if you have something in your mind that you want to buy and you hear about an upcoming price increase, it would behoove you to go ahead and make that purchase because that item could go up even up by 25%. And then think about that looking back in hindsight on how much you could have saved. This is sort of a cheating type of answer, but it's just real world. It's what's happening, and it's happening multiple times a year, and you do get a little bit of warning. Sometimes it's really hard to find those items, but if you can beat a price increase, then I think you can put that in your book as a way that you saved on Louis Vuitton. We talked about Hawaii. That's not really traveling abroad for those of us here in the United States, but another way to save money is by traveling abroad to buy Louis Vuitton. And the reason is because of currency and exchange rates, as well as the cost of shipping the products that Louis Vuitton makes over to the United States, or at the very least, the materials they use to assemble those bags in the United States. We are paying a little bit more than we would if we, say, bought it in France. And on top of that, if you do make a purchase when you're abroad, you can avoid some of the taxes when you bring it back. So long as you're traveling, let's say, with a spouse, you would both get $800 worth of items that you could bring back into the United States without paying taxes on them. So that is another way you can save money on Louis Vuitton. Now, the last couple ways are, well, one of them for sure all of you have heard about, but let me just cover the one that maybe you haven't heard about yet. If you haven't got on a website called 24s.com, you need to. It's 24.s. I'll put it on the screen below. 24s is a website that is run by the LVMH group. If you weren't aware of it, Louis Vuitton is not its own entity. It's part of a bigger entity called LVMH. Now, LVMH has many popular brands, but if you didn't know it, I'm going to just list a few of the major ones. The major ones include LV, Balenciaga, Bottega Veneta, Burberry, Celine, Chloe, Dior, Fendi, Loewe, and Valentino. That's not even the whole list. But if you go to 24s.com, you can often get items at a little bit lower price than they would be if you bought them directly from the lv.com website, let's say. And on top of that, with Louis Vuitton anyway, on your first purchase, you can get 10% off with a couple of different coupon codes, one of which is 10 first. Another one is either Ultimate or Ultimates first. And that pops up when you're on their website. So there's a real life way that Louis Vuitton doesn't advertise that you can get discounts on their products. And when I was scrolling through what they had to offer, they've got quite a lot of really nice things, including canvas items, as well as different leathers like Mahina and Epi, and the list goes on. They had a really cute Lock Me tote that sort of looks like the Neo Noe. There was so much. I was really drooling, I guess you could say. Now, the last way I want to talk about that you can save money is by going with the resale market, the pre-loved market. And just because I say resale or pre-loved, it doesn't mean that the item is not new. That's why I'm bringing out my Alma BB and Rose Ballerine. I got this bag off of Vestiaire Collective and it was brand new. And with all the fees all in, I spent about $1,350. And at that time, or around about that time, I bought this bag from Louis Vuitton, and the price of it, I believe, was around $1,960. Epi does not hold its value. And in fact, if I could have, I would have bought the Indigo bag on the pre-loved sites as well, because of the astonishing savings you can get by going pre-loved. I found this one. The lady was in Spain. She shipped the bag to Vestiaire Collective. They authenticated it, shipped it to me. I authenticated it on my own, and it is genuine, brand new, came with everything. The only thing I didn't get was the receipt, so I didn't get a full set, but I got the dust bag, the clochette, I got the keys, or I guess this is a key bell with the keys and the lock. It all came with it, perfect condition, and I paid around $1,350. So even though the resale market can be a bit scary, as long as you take care of yourself, make sure you're buying from a reputable seller that has a little bit of history, some feedback you can look at, you have lots of pictures to look at, you have somebody else perhaps that's looking out for you, like Vestiaire Collective's authentication, as well as your own authentication, you can really save a whole bunch of money. Those are my top 10 ways to save on Louis Vuitton. And just to run them down in a nutshell so you really believe that I did cover 10 ways, we're talking Rakuten. Right now, that's just Macy's. We're talking about department store loyalty programs, department store credit cards, the U.S. Bank Cash Plus credit card, where you get 5% back at department stores, up to $2,000 per quarter. Find out if there are any stores that sell on where you don't have to pay tax on them in your state because they don't have a location in your state. We're talking about Hawaii purchases. We're talking about buying before the price markups and the increases. We're talking about Facebook groups, eBay, Fashion File, Vestiaire Collective, other resale sites. And we're talking about traveling abroad and getting lower prices there because of currency exchange rates, as well as avoiding taxes up to $1,600 when you come back in the country. I was numbering those all off and I got flabbergasted and I totally lost track of my numbering. But those are the 10 ways that I found that you can save money on Louis Vuitton. And I hope that's helpful to you, and I hope you found something that you didn't know and learned a little bit. I learned a little bit this morning from my friend Joshie Michael. He told me about the reason why Hawaii's prices were lower than ours and how that was related to the Japanese yen. So thank you, Joshie. I'm going to give a shout out to you and link your channel below. Now, if you haven't had a chance to subscribe to my channel and you like content like this, please subscribe and also give me a like, drop me a comment. I love to chat with all of you. Take care and have a fabulous day.